At least 11 people were killed in a shooting at the Tree of Life synagogue in the Pittsburgh shooting in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania. The suspect, identified as 46-year-old Robert Bowers, has been taken into custody. According to reports, the man shouted antisemitic slogans during the incident. The U.S. federal investigators are treating the shooting as a hate crime. The incident took place while worshippers were observing the holy Jewish day of Sabbath. U.S. President Donald Trump called the shooting at Pittsburgh synagogue a quote-unquote a wicked act of mass murder and pure evil, and urged Americans to rise above hate and move past divisions. Trump said at the start of the campaign rally in Indianapolis that anti-Semitism must be condemned and confronted everywhere and anywhere as it appears. Trump was joined at the event by Rabbi Benjamin Sendrow and Pastor Tom O'Leary, who led the crowd in prayer. The municipality of Israeli city of Tel Aviv, Yafo, projected the flags of both the United States and Israel onto its building in a show of solidarity with the victims of the shooting at the Pittsburgh synagogue. Residents of Tel Aviv who stopped to watch the show of lights voiced support for the Jewish people all over the world. American local authorities and media said a gunman yelling, "All Jews must die," stormed into the synagogue during the Saturday prayers. Donald Trump, who's on a campaign trail ahead of the midterm elections in November, warned migrant caravans heading towards the United States. President Trump said that the country cannot take caravans and prompt chants of building the wall, threatening military action against migrants. He said that the military is ready to be called in against these caravans. Even as Trump threatens military action, migrants are determined to cross over into the U.S. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto launched a program which promises shelter, medical attention, schooling and jobs to those who agree to stay in the two southern Mexico states. But most of the migrants rejected the offer. They fear they will be deported if they take advantage of the program. The leaders of Russia, Germany, France and Turkey gathered for dinner after a summit on the conflict in Syria in the Turkish city of Istanbul. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, Russian President Vladimir Putin, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, French President Emmanuel Macron discussed a possible deal to avert a massive government offensive. The leaders of the four countries stressed the importance of a lasting ceasefire in Syria and said a committee to create a new constitution should meet by the end of the year. The leaders of Turkey, France, Germany and Russia shared some light moments during the summit on Syria in Istanbul. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, Russian President Vladimir Putin, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron were seen taking a walk in the garden of the venue of their meet. On the sidelines of the four-way summit with the leaders of Russia, France and Germany, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan raised the Khashoggi case. Erdogan said he has shared details with the three leaders. He said Saudi Arabia needs to confirm who sent the hit squad to Istanbul to murder the Washington Post journalist. He also said that Turkey valued the conclusion of discussions between Turkish and Saudi prosecutors who are due to meet today. Hundreds of bikers rallied through the streets of Sao Paulo in support of far-right presidential candidate Jair Bolsonaro before the second-round runoff in Brazil elections. Brazilians are deeply divided over the polls, though most of them seem to favor Bolsonaro. An ex-army captain nicknamed Tropical Trump whose aggressive social media campaign has tapped into the widespread anti-establishment outrage. Protests in the Central American country of Honduras turned violent as riot police fired their tear gas at angry demonstrators who were marching against President Juan Orlando Hernandez. Critics of the conservative U.S. ally accused Hernandez and his supporters of committing fraud in last year's presidential elections. An initial vote count in the last election showed an election victory for the left before counting was abruptly paused by the electoral body and then resumed to show up surprise Hernandez's victory. Thousands of protesters gathered in Sydney and Melbourne demanding that the offshore refugee be shut by the government. The Australian government is under pressure to resettle Australian detainees from refugee camps on Nauru and Manus Island. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has said that the issue would be dealt with compassionately and based on medical advice. PM Narendra Modi arrived in the Japanese capital of Tokyo to hold talks with the island nation's leadership and attend an annual bilateral summit. PM Modi will be accorded a ceremonial welcome by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The proposed acquisition and cross-servicing agreement between the two militaries is on the agenda for talks. For the first time ever, art created by artificial intelligence went under the hammer at an auction in the US city of New York. The AI-generated painting called Portrait of Edmund Bellamy depicts a slightly blurry, chubby man in a dark frock coat and white collar, and his off-center position leaves enough white space to show the artist's signature as a mathematical algorithm. The portrait was created by Paris-based collective Obvious, who said that the painting was aimed to meld traditional art and artificial intelligence. Julia Flores, considered to be the longest living woman in Bolivia and probably the world, celebrated her 118th birthday. The Bolivian centenarian, better known as Mama Julia, was born on October 26, 1900 in the town of Chopra in the north of the department of Potosi. The Guinness Book of World Records is yet to confirm if she is the oldest living woman in the world. Reports suggest that Priyanka Chopra and Jonas will appear on a TV show named Dance Plus 4. Nick is likely to promote his music single that he recently released. Reports further added that Priyanka wants to acquaint Jonas with the Indian viewers. The episode will be aired as a Christmas special in December.